Hello? Hello, hello. Unfortunately, Zero has not responded, but I figured I'd just start up anyways. Hello everybody, Silly Willy, Sadiq, how's it going? I figure we're gonna definitely gonna wait for Zero before we start anything, before we start the video. But even if he shows up now, I think we're gonna wait like a half hour maybe and just hang out and answer questions, maybe play some chess, and then after that half hour, so around 5:30 Eastern, we're probably gonna start premiering his video. Just to let everyone join in. Hello Nerval, hey Anbu. Hello Emperor Lelouch. It's an honor. Thero Pendragon. What's up everyone? Lelouch, the video we are showing today is about you. We're glad you could join us. Alright, so I'll type it up on here so I don't have to answer. Going to preview video around 5:30 EST. Just hanging out until then. Zero is dead. You haven't seen Code Geass at all? Well, the video we're showing today is about Code Geass, so I don't know what your spoiler policy is, but that may be unfortunate. Sassy Simone Smith, it has been a good while since I've heard that name. You don't respond to our tweets anymore, man. What happened? Young King, what's good, man? Oh, good point, Anbu. I'll tweet it out right now. I'll get rid of that. What is the stream link? Where do I... Hold on, stand by. I gotta find where the stream link is. I have it. Okay. Streaming now. Just hanging out for a half hour. Then we'll premiere Zero's video. Alright. It has been tweeted. Sassy Simone Smith says cookies are cupcakes. I actually just had some cookies last night, so I'd say cookies. I can say that I have not seen Code Geass, but I've been thoroughly spoiled by just working on these videos for Zero. And if anything, it has made me want to watch the show more. Is this music too loud? There we go. Should be quieter. Pascal, it has been a minute. Good to see you. You have not missed anything yet. We are just waiting on Zero to show up. I don't know what he's doing. I even reminded him. I said, remember, we're streaming at 5 today. He said, I will remember. And then he just didn't show up. Have I heard of... What is this? Oh, yeah, I know what this is. Well, I mean, I don't, like, intimately know what it is, but I've seen it. The club, go, whatever. I just messed up my hair. You have to watch Free. I have a friend who wants to watch it with me and Zero, and we've turned her down a couple times, but we may end up doing that. There's no chat on stream? What the heck? That's weird. I have the thing open. I don't know why it's not working. Oh, Sadiq, I didn't get your tweet, by the way, if you still tweeted me the art, or if you could get that working. Unless I missed it. I don't know why this, Oh, wait. Was the chat working at all, or is it just not working right now? I don't know what's wrong. Emperor Lelouch says, spoilers suck, because you already know what the story wants to present you, and there'll be no moments in the story that leave you in shock. Yeah, but, well, I think you could experience different emotions other than shock. Like, you could still, how should I say this? Like, knowing what I know about Code Geass, I could still watch it and be emotionally affected by it. I would never be, like, super surprised by anything, but I don't think that's the only emotion you're supposed to feel when watching something, so... Are there people who ship you and Zero together? I mean, it's been said that people do, but I mean, I don't know, I guess, maybe. Have you or Zero played Doki Doki Literature Club? You guys might like it because of how heavily it toys with genre expectations. Neither of us have played it, and well, the only real reason I imagine... Well, I imagine it wouldn't have a huge impact on me just because I already know, like, I already know what it is and like why it's popular and, you know, what everyone's talking about. So that sort of genre twist might not heavily, but I mean, I did just say that spoilers, that shock isn't the only reason to like something. So maybe you're right. Maybe I would enjoy it. Male fan service is the nude male characters in anime. Any plans for the weekend, Hoodie? What's today? Thursday? I am moving. I think me and Zero might film one more pillow talk in the current location, and then I will be moving to somewhere else. And hopefully I'll be changing some of the sets. I don't like that our Kato reviews Kino's Journey video was just filmed on my bed. So I'm gonna see if I could just make it a little more presentable, and we'll see. I can't 100% guarantee anything, but at the very least, I'd like to get a table. I mean, fan service in the general in by definition, fan service is just anything that is like not entirely relevant to the plot, done for the sake of making fans happy, which usually is like limited to not limited, but it usually applies to sexual sort of depictions, but not exclusively, but usually. You know everything about the shows and games that you haven't watched or played yet. You're like a spoiler. Well, I mean, listen, when you in this community, you kind of have to jump on things pretty fast, or else things are just gonna get spoiled for you. Especially if you're if you like really try to keep up with content. Like if I limit myself to not watching videos about things that I haven't seen yet, then I probably won't watch most videos. And it's important that I do watch videos because, you know, I want to be able to keep up with the other analysis YouTubers. Sort of, Anbu. I technically am moving, but not moving out, so that's not quite what I wanted. But the first one is true. We passed 10K, and then right now I'm still gonna be living with my parents, but I will be, you know, we're gonna go somewhere else, and hopefully in time, if this channel starts to pick up a little more, then maybe I could move out on my own, and that'd be ideal. I don't know if I'd consider the romance between Yuri and Victor fan service. Well, I would consider like the scene with Victor and oh shoot, what was his name? The Italian skater. The scene with Victor and the Italian skater at the pool, you know, just sort of like taking selfies and stuff. I'd consider that on the realm of fan service. But Yuri and Victor developing a relationship is really relevant to the story and plot, so I wouldn't consider that I wouldn't consider it just fan service. If anything, I think it goes out of its way to not be by like they didn't actually show them kissing, so I have seen Death Note. In fact, if you go to our channel, one of our Death Note videos is, I think it's called like Death Note and Grooming Success, which is about Whammy Sauce. Zero is the one who's reading the script, but technically I wrote that video and he's just reading it. So. You're not prying on Boo, it's all good. It will be somewhat harder, but it will be harder to work with Zero after I move, but it's already pretty hard because technically he lives in a different city already because he goes to college, he dorms there. So we are already right now we can only record when he's back home for vacation. So that's already difficult. And then I'll be moving to a different city, so it'll get a little more difficult, but it probably it won't affect anything because with the way things are right now, we already bulk record, so we're just gonna have to keep doing that. What is the conversation about fan service right now? Male, female. Classifying it as male and female usually just applies to like the way I would consider how do I phrase this? It becomes a little gray because I think a lot of the free audience, would I be wrong to say that most people who are into that show may be just gay? Or is it just a female audience that enjoys watching like Actually, I guess I don't know if anyone in Free is actually gay, but. This is Nerval. I don't know why this is so hard to explain. It is a little confusing, though. I guess the way we're phrasing it is a little confusing. I'm probably not helping, so my bad. Dude, where is Zero? It's been like 15 minutes. Let me call him on Skype. I don't think he'll answer, but... Oh, jeez. Is that too loud? Alright, he didn't answer. Why do you have to be together to record? Couldn't you record separately and put it together in the editing process? Hypothetically we could, but he doesn't have a microphone. Like, I own all of our equipment and stuff. So for the podcast, hypothetically we could both... For the videos, if he had a microphone, we could do that, which is what we might end up doing. If he, I asked him to invest in one, but I don't know if he's definitely going to do that. For the podcast, it's pretty important that we're both in the same room, so that's not possible. Sorry about that, guys. I just, you know, I had to call him and see if he would answer. Skype's call noise is really annoying. Anbu asked a good question. What was the answer? In short, I wasn't listening. Sorry. What was the question? Did I miss it? Will your move make working with Zero difficult? Is that the question? It will make it more difficult, but not by a huge margin. It's basically the general answer is it's already difficult. It will make it slightly more difficult, but not unbearable. It won't affect the upload schedule or anything. At least it shouldn't. What about all of the hot spring scenes in Zero and Ice? Are those fan service or not? I mean, you could, yeah, I guess you would qualify them as fan service, but it's pretty tame. So it's not like there's fan service that a lot of people hate, and that's like stuff. I don't know if you guys have seen Grimgar, but that's like where you're in a really intense action scene, but they keep flashing the girl's panties or whatever. That's usually along the lines of fan service that people don't like. And then, you know, if it's just people hanging out in a bathhouse, that's usually not a big deal. It is currently 5:20 in where I am. So 10 minutes until we should preview the video, but Zero's not here, and I don't want to preview it without him because we're going to be in chat talking about it with you guys, and I'm not going to be able to talk about Code Geass all that much because, I mean, it's his video. We might have to wait a little longer, basically, if Zero isn't here. Hold on, let me employ some assistance. I'm going to ask someone to call him. I think I have his number, but I haven't called him in like 8 years, so it might not be the right one. Pretty much just talk on Facebook. Is the music too quiet? Have you thought about opening a Patreon? It could help settle the costs. I do have a Patreon, Thorough Pendragon. It's you are allowing me to self-promote, so thank you. Kato YT. That is my Patreon. Or that is the channel's Patreon. This video right here is all his. I mean, I edited it, but that's because he doesn't know how to edit. But he wrote it. Well, yeah, I mean, it's his idea. He wrote it, and then I helped him, but It's his script. Have you seen Tokyo Ghoul? I have not. Oh. Nope, that wasn't him. Alright, I am trying to locate John. Sorry if my typing is loud. I don't think it should be. I think I have a noise filter, but I might be wrong. The music is too loud still. I can lower it. Lower it to here. Let's see. Alright, I have a friend calling Zero. Hopefully he answers. There's a new SAO anime coming out next season being made by a different anime studio and written by a new author. Technically a spin-off. Will you guys be watching it? I have heard nothing about that, but if it's in completely different hands, then I may like it. I mean, I didn't hate SAO. Well, I really didn't like it, but the first couple episodes I liked a lot. So if it, like, so there's nothing inherently wrong with like the setting or anything. So if it's in completely different hands, I may enjoy it. What editing software do you use? I use Sony Vegas. I've not seen Violet Evergarden. We considered it because we have to record another review show, but I think Violet Evergarden has 14 episodes and it's not done airing yet, and we have to record soon, so we're gonna do something else instead. We might do it next month. Alright, peace out, Pascal. We'll be streaming for another hour and a half, so if you're still here, then we'll see you then. I don't know many light novel adaptations that I've enjoyed, but I did like No Game No Life. That might be the only one that I know of. Do you watch anime together often? We watch... if we're doing a review of it, we do. But it's certainly not the normal scenario. I don't think we'll be watching the next one together because we're reviewing an anime with 25 episodes. So... that would be a long time to sit down with someone else, as to where if I watch it by myself, I could just go at my own pace. Alright, I'm going to change this to going to preview video when Zero gets here. Yuri on Ice is getting a movie? That's cool. I was thinking about that recently because I wasn't sure how long it would take for the hypothetical season 2 to come out. Is the movie coming out instead of season 2? Or is it just getting both? Is No Game No Life season 2 coming out at all? I liked Yuri on Ice a lot. Is No Game No Life season 2 coming out at all because I love it so much? I would not bank on it. As much as I would enjoy it, and there is a room to make a season 2, I doubt they were going to do it. It's just been so long. I'd be very surprised. I would qualify Yuri on Ice as quite gay and very good. Interesting. No Game No Life season 2 got the Shaft. Technically, it got the Madhouse. That's true. It did take a decade to get season 3 of Code Geass, so I guess nothing's ever off the table, but I would be surprised. The article basically just said that they'd be interested in doing it, I think. I don't think it didn't like give any details. It was basically just confirmed that it would happen, but that's it. So I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab a blanket. I'm back. Let's see. Gonna play some Fortnite till he comes. Romance is hardly done good. Isekai are hardly done good. I would agree with the second part. I think whether romance is done good is largely going to depend on what the actual genre of it is. Like, if you are watching a shonen, then yeah, the romance is usually pretty bad. But I don't know if I'd say that all romance in anime is usually bad. Hoodie, will you guys ever do gaming streams on Twitch? I believe Twitch pays better than YouTube, but I don't know. To be 100% honest, we will probably switch to Twitch, but we just didn't want to do it right now because we figured if we said we're going to be live streaming on Twitch, not many of you guys would probably follow us because it's easier if it's on YouTube. It's a lot more convenient. But after we do this for a little while, we may switch over just because I do think it's important to diversify, you know, what you're doing. If you have all your eggs in the basket of YouTube and then YouTube fucks you over, then you're fucked over. But if I like have a hand in YouTube and a hand on Twitch, then you know, I'm less likely to get screwed.
Yeah.
I mean, if they make a second season of No Game Life, they get more views or ratings, so they should prioritize it over those shows. Potentially. I think it's a little more complicated than that. I don't know everything that goes behind the scenes, but I'm sure they're aware that No Game Life is very popular. So I don't know. Welcome back, Sadiq. I don't know if Your Lie in April is hailed as the best romance in anime. I mean, I haven't heard that, but I would agree that Your Lie in April is not that great. I wish that Soul Eater got a reboot. Define reboot, because I got Soul Eater not. So that is a spin-off reboot. The good parts of Your Lie in April are the corn in it? Is that what that says? I don't know what that means. Oh, is there a section on Mal for romance? Let's look at that then. Oh, wait, I got a text. Dude, Zero's actually just missing. I had a friend call him and he didn't answer. This is not good. Alright guys, what should I do? Should I just kill him? Let's do a straw poll. To kill or not to kill Zero? Okay, top anime. Is there a genre? Is there a sort by genre on here? I guess not. I haven't seen not Your Lie in April, Your Name yet, but this counts as romance, right? I mean, it's a movie, but... Welcome to the stream, Sadiq, with your good internet connection. If you guys want the sneak preview on what the next review is going to be on, not next video, but next review. Well, that's technically a video, but you get the idea. It's going to be on this anime right here, a good old classic called Steins Gate. Pardon me if you've already done this, but have either of you thought about making a Psycho-Pass video? Zero doesn't really like Psycho-Pass. He's kind of stopped me from watching it. Well, he doesn't like told me not to, but I tried to watch it with him, and then he said he didn't want to because he didn't like it. So that's why that's never happened. Alright guys, I'm gonna give him 10 minutes. If he's not here in 10 minutes, I will just play the video. I mean, you guys came here to watch the video, so I will play it. Oh, his video, by the way, I don't know if this is gonna be like a problem for you guys, but his video is Zero's video is 27 minutes long. So I'll be in chat talking to you guys, but you know, we're just gonna be playing that video for a half hour basically. Psycho-Pass is pretty darn good. Pretty damn good. I don't know why I just censored you like that. Yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot of praise. I'll probably... I don't want to make the promise that I'll get to it, but... Maybe. Maybe for a review. I don't know what... I mean, I gotta just assume he's been assassinated or something, right? I mean, what else would he be doing? Surely he just got killed. I mean, listen, if you're not into the sort of if you're not into sports anime or you're not into romance, then I would say Yuri on Ice might not be for you. But if you're into either or both of those, then you may enjoy it. I enjoyed it a lot. Emperor Lou says Zero's probably taking a dump. If that was true, he'd have been doing that for the past like 50 minutes, which I suppose is possible, but I'd be worried about his health.
He's a gentle
one. If you're into males, you may enjoy it. Are you a friend of the LGBT community? I mean, I don't consider myself an enemy. The only thing I'd say about the romance in Yuri on Ice is that it does get a little fast towards the end. Like, without getting into spoilers, just for the general chat, the romance aspect of the show goes like in turbo drive in the last couple episodes, and it gets a little too much for me, in my opinion. But everything leading up to that was really good. Yeah, Sadiq, go ahead, send me on Twitter. Wow, Juan, you were getting more late. Before it was just like 10 minutes, but 35 minutes? Yet you were still earlier than Zero. That's impressive. One, are you actually Zero? Being late tends to go hand in hand with you two. I don't know what's going on there. Ambu Black Ops says, if Zero never comes back, can I be your new partner? I could help with editing, kinda. I'll definitely open up the application process. We're interested in working with you, Anbu. Just the schedule is not lining up right now because of how far ahead in the future we have to work. We're trying to see if we could. We're trying to open up some podcast ideas that are a little more flexible, but we're a little stumped on ideas right now because we're gonna be scaling back Pillow Talks to 2 times a month instead of 3. So once every other week, basically. So we just need one more we need like a monthly podcast idea to take one of the time slots. We're not quite sure what we want it to be yet, but hopefully it's something that like is easy to collab with people. Zero is the number of minutes he shows up before the stream ends. You should check out some Magical Girl anime. Maybe. The only one that even like potentially interests me is Madoka, but even that one, not a huge amount. Alright, let me check Twitter. See if Sadiq sent that. Alright, let's see. Sadiq, I do not have your Twitter, so would you get together with Victor? I mean, me personally, I mean, I'm not gay, but I would of the two, if I had to get with either Victor or Yuri K, I'd probably get with Yuri K. The scene in episode 6 where he's like, where he presses his head against Victor's and says, "Keep your eyes on me." Listen, I'm trying to keep this stream PG, but that got me hot and bothered. Alright, boys. I'm gonna start setting up. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna play it on stream. And I'm gonna mute my microphone and I'll sit and chat with you guys and, you know, hang out with everyone. But I'm also gonna link the video. So if you're the type of person who likes to watch their videos sped up or whatever, then you could do that. Let me set up a text. That way, if anyone's joining, they'll know that this is basically just gonna be what we're doing for the next half hour. Add set text. Video will until 30 minutes. Alright. Nope, not that. There we go. So video will play until, let's make that, how do I add, we add like a background. Outline size, let's go bigger. Let's make the color black. Okay, there we go. Video will play. Okay. Can you play the 10-hour version? No, I'm not gonna do that. Gigic made a pretty good video on how dairies are reflections of traits that would be rejected in reality. I've not seen that video. Yes, it is 27 minutes. So, listen, if you guys don't want to sit here and watch a 27-minute video, then that's all good. You could tune out and then come back in a half hour, and then we'll just continue the stream like normal. We might end up talking about the video, so you'll kind of be out of the loop. But, it is what it is. All right, boys. I'm going to start it now, so I'm going to turn off my webcam and mute my mic. I will be in the chat, so if you guys have any questions, if you guys just want to, ask whatever, go ahead and I'll respond to you through text. So I will see you guys in 27 minutes. Pause that. All right.
This moment is the conception of Lelouch the Demon. This horrific scene is the origin of world peace. Code Geass is a show that I actually appreciate more on each rewatch. The level of attention to detail on display results in me finding something new to appreciate about the show on every rewatch. One example can be found in the very first episode in this scene where Lelouch plays a game of chess against an unnamed Britannian noble.
Oh, now wait a minute! You can't win this one, it's impossible, right?
Rivals says you can't win this because he's looking at White's strong pass pawns on the c file. If White can play c takes b7, he'll have 2 pawns on the b and c files, and Black will have no pawns to stand in their way. Plus they have the support of the strong rook on the b file. It's difficult to prevent these pawns from their queen the coronation. It's clear from the noble's expression that he was also focused on a strong attack. The Black queen is close to the White king, but Rivals and a noble may have even noticed that queen to g2 doesn't work because the White knight is guarding that square. To take a temporary tangent, there's some symbolic foreshadowing at play on the board that I really like here. The White knight is protecting the king from being checkmated, just like Suzaku prevents Lelouch from defeating Clovis's nightmare forces in the upcoming episodes. In that battle, Lelouch is in a winning position against Clovis, but Suzaku swoops in at the last moment and interrupts Lelouch's attack. The White Knight single-handedly prevents the checkmate. The episode where Suzaku boards the Lancelot and fights Lelouch is even called The White Knight Awakens. It's really cool that this specific position was chosen for a reason. Black can't just get the checkmate in 1 here, but he does have an unstoppable mate in 4. Lelouch was the only one in the room who spotted it. The first move you have to make for this strategy to work is actually king to g6. You want to make room for your rook on the h file. If you go for king to g7, it allows for knight to f5 check, which, with imprecise play, can allow for white to escape here. He doesn't move the rook first because that would make his plan obvious to the noble, and he might try to somehow intervene. Lelouch realizes that his attack on the king side will be faster than the influence of the queen side pawns, so he makes room for his rook on the h file, preparing to allow the queen to checkmate the white king on h1 by supporting it with the rook. Just like he does in his battle against Clovis, Lelouch maneuvers around the white knight to checkmate the king. The noble, failing to see the impending checkmate, mocks Lelouch for starting with the king because he thinks the best move to play here is b takes c6. This would relinquish the b file to white's rook, but it would stop the threat of the white pawn's queening. Lelouch not playing this move tells the noble that he doesn't know what he's doing. Even assuming the noble saw the threat, which he clearly didn't after the first move, there's actually nothing the noble can do to escape checkmate in this position, assuming Lelouch plays the best moves. Lelouch will play rook to h8, then after the noble's next move, Lelouch simply plays queen to h1 and it's checkmate. To be perfectly honest, this is a fairly simple tactic that most chess players would recognize. However, most people inexperienced in chess probably wouldn't. The fact that Lelouch saw the tactic isn't so much the point of this scene as the fact that he can instantly read that no one else in the room sees it. This scene demonstrates both that Lelouch can spot a good chess tactic, indicating that he's a good player, and that he can read a room naturally, indicating natural intelligence and a possession of observational skills. All of this says to me that the people behind this show were willing to put a lot of work into this episode. They wanted to put their best foot forward and pay this much attention even to the little details. I specify that this is them putting their best foot forward because this show isn't always this good with its attention to chess on the screen. They really wanted to establish that there is importance to the symbolic chess undertones of the series, but the show doesn't actually care about chess. It just cares about the fact that Lelouch cares about chess. Most of the chess games in this show are scenes that are usually about something else more than the chess game itself, and the only notable exception is this game in the first episode. For example, the first game Lelouch plays with Mao before he learns who he is. C2 described that Lelouch could never beat Mao. C2 is naturally pretty good at seeing through most people, and Lelouch is completely honest with her, so she has a very good grasp of his personality even this early into the series. Mao later explains what she means.
I'm afraid you're not the type of person who can keep your mind empty. There's a part of you that's a critic, constantly watching your own moves, and there's another part that's an observer, watching the critic, watching you.
They're both telling the truth. This is all consistent with Lelouch's characterization. If Lelouch played like Schneisel, he could probably beat Mao, even despite his Gios, because a strong chess player will focus on playing moves that simply improve their own position. However, against opponents that Lelouch considers to be strong, he tends to go for traps and strategies that they don't see coming. Because of Lelouch's nature, as described by Mao, Lelouch is constantly looking for the weaknesses in his own moves, so he's continuously taking these calculated risks, and Mao only has to look into his head to see those calculations. Similarly to Clovis, rather than try to oppose a strength he can't beat, Lelouch wins against Mao by finding an opening and making an attack of his own. However, in their chess games, Mao wins against Lelouch every time, because Lelouch tells him how to do so, even though he knows that's what he's doing and wants to stop. The actual games we see only serve as a backdrop to this struggle. Instead of focusing on the games, Code Geass uses these scenes as opportunities to discuss Lelouch's psychology. The difference in focus between the chess scenes with this rogue rapscallion and the chess scene with the unnamed noble in episode 1 is explained by the fact that, as discussed in my Importance of Mao video, Mao was, in part, designed to illuminate this part of Lelouch's characterization for the audience. Even the frankly criminal chess scene between Schneisel and Lelouch is meant to serve a purpose for which the game itself only serves as a backdrop. The game itself is made the butt of jokes for the fact that the pieces seem to pop in and out of existence, but, as they rarely are in this show, this game isn't just a chess game. It was meant to demonstrate two things. First, that Lelouch hesitated to seize an easy victory because he thought the win would reflect poorly on him, so that it would set up a parallel when Schneisel does the same thing on the battlefield. And second, Schneisel's lack of a will to win. Schneisel was prepared to throw away a draw and take a loss in their chess game just to get some insight on Zero's personality. This information contributes to Lelouch's eventual victory. Code Geass still has good writing even when it isn't paying attention to the actual chess it's showing, so I can forgive it, but I would like to see even more if a sequence of Lelouch and Schneisel presumably just moving their kings one space forward on the board wasn't followed by both characters claiming that they're approaching threefold repetition. Schneisel's frequently depicted as the man most likely to beat Zero. The fact that Lelouch could never beat Schneisel in chess is brought up often, even though the last time they played together was when Lelouch was like 10 years old. And Schneisel is about 8 years older than Lelouch, according to Wikipedia, so it was literally a case of a young adult playing a child. If anything, the fact that they played at all is indicative of Lelouch potentially being a chess prodigy. That said, because of those games, Lelouch has a high opinion of Schneisel's ability. He'll often comment on how strong of an opponent Schneisel is, while Schneisel continues to regard Zero and eventually Lelouch with confidence. In truth, Lelouch and Schneisel are very nearly equal in mental ability. They're very good at predicting how others will think and act. They're very good at lying to and manipulating those around them in order to get valuable people on their side as well. They're also both mildly sadistic at times, and like to completely dominate their enemies with grandiose, unexpected strategies. In many ways, they have very similar strengths. However, Schneisel and Lelouch don't operate in exactly the same way. Unlike most of Lelouch's enemies in command, Schneisel's strength comes not just from his tactical skill, but from his strategic ability to achieve his objectives regardless of the resistance you put up. A fitting final boss for Lelouch of the Rebellion. Even if you anticipate his plan and try to avoid it, he'll continue towards his objective, and whatever move you try to make will fail to stop him. The ability to successfully achieve an objective is often cited by grandmasters of chess as the difference between a won and a lost game, and a good chess player and a great one. After all, even if you get a good position, if you lack the ability to identify how to use that advantage, you won't win. Schneisel knows how to identify a path to victory that the enemy can't do anything to prevent. He knows how to identify how they'll try to resist and take advantage of their plan. For a character with a strategic mind that Lelouch can't beat, this is a great playstyle. It also makes sense for a character who's used to being the smartest guy in the room to play this way. This style of thinking is consistent with Schneisel's actions throughout the series, which are mostly moves that will strengthen his organization or weaken the enemies. Lelouch's playstyle incorporates elements of Schneisel's but is ultimately notably different, and what's more, we can actually speculate as to why. Lelouch learned how to play chess, which he applies to his general strategies, from playing against at least Schneisel, who was stronger than him. For someone new to the game who doesn't know quite what they're doing, Schneisel's playstyle would be very oppressive. All he could try to do is defend against Schneisel's plan, but Schneisel would be able to see through every attempted defense Lelouch could muster. Eventually, rather than try to defend against Schneisel's attack, Lelouch learned to see through Schneisel's plan, and rather than trying to stop him, he finds an opening for his own attack. This also explains why Lelouch likes to play from the black side on a chessboard. Because you have to play second, you're more suited to counterattacks that take advantage of early aggression. Like with Schneisel, this mindset is visible in many of Lelouch's actions throughout the show. He often allows someone else to make the first move so that he can counter with a brilliant move that they couldn't foresee. In the end, this is even how he defeats Schneisel. Lelouch and Schneisel both have consistent characterization that is informed by how they play chess, and that makes sense given their character histories, and the rivalry has a great impact on Lelouch's personality. Lelouch has multiple masks. To the student council, he's Lelouch Lamperouge, the Shikamaru of the group, the genius peer who wastes his potential with games out of boredom. To Nunnally, he's a strong, kind, and caring older brother who will help and protect her at all costs. He is all of these things, but he uses these attributes to hide those other qualities of his personality. But to crusade against Britannia, Lelouch establishes a new mask for himself, the more literal Mask of Zero. Zero is an enemy of Britannia who hates the Britannian royal family and who wants to promote justice even if he has to be a villain to do so. But Lelouch isn't a villain. In episode 42, Lelouch is prepared to face any and every humiliation before Suzaku in exchange for Nunnally's safety. That's what he cares about most. Lelouch and Suzaku finally drop the pretense and admit to each other that they're enemies. Except Lelouch does it because he sees Suzaku as a friend, or wishes he could still see him as one. He wholeheartedly believes that Suzaku will protect Nunnally, so he's willing to do anything to ensure that he does. When they see each other next, Suzaku intensely interrogates Lelouch. He comes at him with all the anger and hatred and resentment that he's built up for Zero all this time, and he makes him pay for it by hurting him and guilt-tripping him at the same time. Lelouch doesn't really resist because he expects all of this and because he wants to make it part of his atonement for his sins, because he's begging Suzaku for a favor. Suzaku brings up everything he's been thinking about all this time, everything he's wanted to ask Lelouch if he really was Zero again. We find out the one question he wanted an answer to most was, why did you order me to live? He's played through that moment many times in his head, and he questions why the same Lelouch that committed such atrocities as masterminding the incident, causing Shirley's death after they just publicly started dating, and sacrificing countless lives as Zero just to achieve his own ends would bother protecting his life. His questions reveal that he's unable to reconcile Zero's heartless actions with the ones that have protected people that Lelouch Lamperouge called his friends. Lelouch is good at predicting how people think, so he knows that the last thing Suzaku wants to hear from him is another excuse. He also probably knows that Suzaku will see through his tendency to demonize himself in his answers and realize that he's actually lying. And Suzaku does exactly that. He sees that Lelouch is doing what he once did after killing his father, and bearing the pain of humiliating shame and guilt, even beyond what he actually deserves, because what he did do overshadows the little details, and he's trying to atone by bearing the blame for it all. Suzaku asks Lelouch if he's lying, but he actually plays along here. He tells Lelouch that the only way to atone for the lies he told is to make the lies into the truth. He's speaking from the perspective of someone who sees Lelouch as the demon behind Zero. But for a moment, he makes it clear that he understands. He instructs Lelouch to bring an end to the war and bring peace to the world, and in return, Suzaku agrees to protect Nunnally. What I'd like to bring to your attention is that Lelouch is actually lying. He was actually trying to protect the people he cared about the entire time. That's what's so unique about Lelouch. He manipulates people, kills them, lies to them, commits every necessary despicable act, but he never stops genuinely caring. Suzaku sees through this, so he's willing to potentially give Lelouch another chance. If Lelouch really does care enough about Nunnally to give up his ambitions, Suzaku might be willing to actually forgive him. For Lelouch in that moment, who feels like he's lost everything at this point, the prospect of being genuinely forgiven by Suzaku, who sees the demon within him, seems good enough to Lelouch to make everything worth it. In an unfortunate series of events, Suzaku seemingly betrays him. Lelouch decides to change his mind and heeds Suzaku's words, to make the lie the truth. He'll become the demon. He'll become cold and callous.
I was wrong to think that I could depend on sympathy. Cold and callous, that's the prescription. Unless I keep myself perfectly in this frame of mind, I won't be able to take Nunnally back.
Lelouch does admit to wearing masks. He claims that everyone does. But that's not necessarily a bad thing in his mind. He believes we do it out of necessity. It helps us get along with each other, pretending to be something more socially acceptable than we truly are deep down. If we didn't wear masks and lie to protect one another, we couldn't even form communities without them falling apart. This is a common defense of the concept of deception, and one Lelouch offers without taking much time to think about it. He questions, what even is one's true face? What if every face is just a mask? But his father, Emperor Charles, disagrees. He wants to create a world where lies won't need to exist. He argues that once we stop lying to each other, we'll be able to truly understand each other, and conflict will ultimately disappear. In this ideal world, death will be obsolete. Lelouch believes that the world Charles is trying to create will be a world of stagnation where nothing actually occurs. He calls it a world of memories. He, C2, and Suzaku all recognize that forcing everyone to live in a world without death will eventually lead to everyone feeling unfulfilled, and everyone feeling the way Suzaku and C2 do right now, wanting to die but being unable to do so. And Lelouch and Suzaku both have people who have died that they miss, but they don't take this opportunity to see those people again, despite how happy it would make them in the short term, because Lelouch and Suzaku have determined that none of them would want to live in the world the Emperor is trying to create. Continuing their earlier conversation, Lelouch then explains to his parents that lies can be a good force as well. Lelouch asserts that people lie not just because they're in conflict, but also because they want something. He believes that forcing everyone to abandon their masks will actually make them less happy, because they won't be able to pursue those desires anymore, as the world will become stagnant. Lelouch believes that, in a way, Nunnally's smile was a mask, and Lelouch calls it beautiful. He values that mask, and he loathes his parents for lacking the real love for his sister that he feels, as evidenced by their lack of appreciation for Nunnally's wholesomeness. Lelouch has his own world to forge, Nunnally's world. Lelouch and Suzaku make a contract. Make the ends justify the means. No matter what it takes, create the better world in the name of which all of this violence has occurred. So now Lelouch has to create a new mask. The Mask of the Demon. To those outside Lelouch's closest circle, he was the man who manipulated the Black Knights and the Japanese people to fight for his whims as Zero, and now manipulates Britannia for the same reasons. While wearing the Mask of Zero, Lelouch commits many atrocities over the course of the series, but he always claimed that it was for the good of Japan. The demon claims that all of his despicable acts are being committed solely for his own amusement. Lelouch is determined to become an even more evil figure. While acting as Zero, Lelouch often had to hide the evil acts he was committing from those that followed him, because he was attempting to become a figure of justice. Now, as the demon, he has to commit atrocities beyond what he would normally perform to build a legacy of oppressive evil. That said, the demon is no different from any of Lelouch's other masks. It highlights the true aspects of his personality that he wants to highlight to the person for whom he wears it, and hides the rest. Lelouch wants the world to see him as the man who grabs power for his own whims because he acknowledges that it is what he's doing, and to distract from the truth of the fact that he's doing it all for their own benefit. Emperor Charles, the Ozai of Code Geass, is no longer an antagonist in the series. At the beginning, Charles sort of seemed like the final opponent Lelouch would have to face, but that role never really fit him in my opinion. Charles was disinterested in the world, and the struggle of Zero that the entire show was about. Schneisel even criticizes Charles for this exact mindset multiple times, showing that the writers were aware of this issue. Charles was too indifferent to Lelouch for the final battle between them to be climactic enough, so instead of him, the show chooses Schneisel to be Lelouch's final opponent, the rival that had been fighting against him for most of the series anyway. Schneisel instantly learns that the Emperor is dead. Now that Charles is out of the way, Schneisel is holding the White King. The final confrontation will come down to a game between Lelouch and Schneisel for the fate of the world.
I understand everything, but now I'm the one controlling the game.
For most of the series, up until her presumed death, Nunnally was Lelouch's weakness. After her death, and after Lelouch killed his parents, he and Suzaku decided the best way for them to repent for their sins was to commit to the lie and wear the mask to the end. They act as men who will cruelly take whatever they want, no matter the consequences, to create the gentler world they had done everything up to that point to achieve. This was how to achieve Nunnally's dream. So when Nunnally is revealed to be alive and ultimately becomes an obstacle thanks to Schneisel turning her against him, Lelouch instantly understands that it changes nothing. His conviction at this point is stronger than it's ever been. Not very long ago, he would have yelled at C2 for even suggesting that he should fight Nunnally. And here, he embraces the mask, and denounces his love for her, claiming that everything he's done up until now has been to attain power for his own sake. He's committing to the lie, and choosing to fight Nunnally, because now this is bigger than him or her. Still, this isn't an easy decision to make. Having to reconcile lying directly to Nunnally, and threatening her, causing her all that emotional turmoil, and becoming someone that she despises in the process all visibly takes a toll on Lelouch. This is the only thing left that could possibly give him pause. While Lelouch believes that people tend to desire peace, Schneisel believes that peace is only an illusion. He plans to discipline all of humanity through force with the Damocles to make that illusion reality. This is what the late Emperor Charles dubbed Schneisel's world in his final words to Lelouch before being erased. To create Nunnally's world, Lelouch will have to stop Schneisel's world from being creative, just like he stopped Charles. It's the final showdown. Lelouch and Schneisel both understand that when one side wins, the fighting will end, and this battle will determine the winner of the war. Lelouch makes his first preparation, flashing his possession of high-profile hostages to protect his vessel from immediate direct flare fire. Schneisel predicted this move, however, so he uses the opportunity to leverage control of the Black Knights. With this, the board is set. Schneisel and Lelouch are opponents of equal strength. Schneisel attacks first, metaphorically solidifying himself as white on the chessboard. His plan is to surround Lelouch's forces. Lelouch goes for a slightly more sophisticated tactic, trying to goad Schneisel to attack, which he was prepared for. But Schneisel sees through this trap instantly and stops his advance. After this, they both reposition themselves. Schneisel tries to gain the high ground, so Lelouch counters by preparing his anti-air units. It's exactly like playing an opening in a chess match. Both sides are just trying to gain an advantageous position before the fighting begins. Eventually, Schneisel improves his position enough that his attempt to surround Lelouch's forces actually comes to fruition. Not only are Schneisel and Lelouch's political tactics and strategies influenced by their chess playstyles, but even how they go to war in their final battle is. Despite Lelouch's attempts to stop Schneisel's advance, Schneisel eventually gets to the exact position he sought in the first place, and rather than continuing to try to stop him, Lelouch simply attacks Schneisel's weak center. It's actually considered better in chess to respond to threats by attacking with an even more immediate threat than simply defending, which is exactly what Lelouch elects to do. Schneisel, however, completely expected this. He deploys the Black Knights, knowing that Lelouch lacks enough strong nightmare pilots to deal with their might, expecting that this will make his attack faster than Lelouch's. Lelouch does indeed get pressured quite a bit by the Black Knight's strength, but he reveals a countermeasure he had prepared for their interference, wiping out most of the Black Knight's forces in one fell swoop. He blows up the Securidite mines, creating massive destruction, but but unfortunately some of his troops were caught in the explosion as well. Lelouch sacrifices a piece and a couple pawns to stop Schneisel's threatening attack on his flank, but while Lelouch just threw away a weapon, one is opened up for Schneisel's use. With the Black Knights gone, he can wield the Flaya fearlessly. Schneisel still has the advantage. Lelouch was almost surprised at how early Schneisel had chosen to use the Flaya warheads, but he was even prepared for things getting this disadvantageous, and he had already calculated the line following this move. This is why Lelouch recruited Nina. He knew that Schneisel would rely on the strength of the Flayas after the loss of the Black Knights, because without the Damocles in its arsenal, Britannia is stronger in terms of military might. So he sought out a countermeasure to the Flaya. But not all is going swimmingly for Lelouch. Schneisel had sent the surviving remnants of the Black Knights to attack the Avalon directly. Lelouch's attempts to breach the Damocles have also proven fruitless, thanks to a particularly strong Blaze Luminous. As Lelouch observed in the very first episode, real battle is different. While Lelouch is dealing with the Black Knights, Schneisel contemplates when to use the Flaya next. Schneisel even says that using it would be too greedy. Both Schneisel and Lelouch are obviously treating this battle like an actual chess game. When Lelouch enters the battlefield, Schneisel believes that he's basically forfeiting the game and attempts to finish it with a Flaya. In this moment, he opens the Blaze Luminous, which is exactly what Lelouch wants. But first, he has to activate the countermeasure that he prepared. The way this works is actually a perfect parallel to Lelouch's philosophy, stated in the very first episode. In the metaphorical game between Lelouch and Schneisel, this is when Lelouch decides to lead with the king. He's the first one to put his life on the line by approaching the Flaya to collect and input necessary data, and only after he's succeeded does Suzaku throw the spear that nullifies the Flaya. Then Lelouch uses the opportunity from Schneisel's previous move, the Open Blaze Luminous, to infiltrate Schneisel's fortress. Lelouch lets Schneisel achieve his goals of infiltrating the Avalon and even firing a Flaya directly at him, just to create an opening for him to board the Damocles. At this point, Schneisel is willing to grant Lelouch this tactical victory, but he even predicted that Lelouch would expose his king, as he has, and prepared a plan to take advantage of that target. Schneisel willing to destroy Damocles to take Lelouch with it. After the Damocles and the Flayas are destroyed, he'll simply find a new organization to rebuild those weapons for him and resume his plan. Kennen points out that this is effectively terrorism, considering that they'll probably be turning towards shady organizations to achieve that end, but Schneisel kinda just shrugs it off. To help slow Lelouch down, Schneisel kept Gino as his ace in the hole, the last remaining knight of the rounds besides Anya and Suzaku himself. Lelouch predicts Schneisel's move. You may be noticing a pattern here. He actually pre-recorded an entire conversation to play it when Schneisel was in place, using the same trick he did against Colin and Mao. When Schneisel sees the recording of Lelouch, he admits defeat, but he actually thinks this is a stalemate. He thinks that Lelouch plans to kill him, but the Flayas will still detonate and destroy the Damocles with him on board. Schneisel decides to use this opportunity to distract Lelouch, so that their game can come to a climactic conclusion. Lelouch and Schneisel finally engage in philosophical discourse. Kinda. Everything Lelouch was saying was pre-recorded, but we as the audience get to hear their thoughts right before the climax of the final battle. Lelouch asks if Schneisel wanted to use the Damocles to rule the world. Schneisel insists that he just wanted to create the kind of peaceful world that everyone desires. Lelouch suggests that he would be disregarding human nature, and Schneisel claims that it's a matter of opinion. Schneisel has gone on record claiming that human nature is to desire a king to solve everyone's problems, so by forcing the world into peace, he's doing exactly what he believes the people want. Lelouch tells Schneisel that such a world would stagnate, like he once told Charles, and that the people in his world wouldn't truly be living. He repeats the message that he first connected with C2 over, that a life without meaning, a life of just experiences, isn't worth living. Lelouch rejects Schneisel's plan because he feels that oppressing the will of humanity by forcing them to live under Schneisel's thumb, while potentially creating peace, wouldn't make anyone happier. This is why he opposes Schneisel's brand of peace. Schneisel simply states that if you string experiences together, you get knowledge. Rather than ask him to elaborate and maybe explain why the hell he even brings that up, Lelouch just changes the subject because he's a pre-recorded message. He claims that while his father sought the past, Schneisel seeks the present and he seeks the future. Schneisel doesn't seem to disagree, and he just replies that the future could be worse than the present. Lelouch insists that it'll definitely be better, because no matter how long it takes, human nature is truly to seek happiness for oneself. This is the fundamental difference between Schneisel's and Lelouch's philosophies that creates such a rift in the worlds they seek to create. They disagree on what human nature truly is, and subsequently disagree on what must be done to best suit everyone's desires. Schneisel criticizes Lelouch for being too emotional, but Lelouch argues that the difference between them is because one of them lived among the common people and genuinely cared for them, while the other only ever viewed them from on high as a member of the Britannian royal family. Lelouch says that he's seen the existence of hope and the purity of the wish for happiness, and it compels him. Schneisel criticizes Lelouch again, but for hypocrisy, claiming that Lelouch uses his Gios to subjugate people's will, but then affirms its virtue in a philosophical debate. Schneisel begins to smirk at Lelouch, finding amusement in the fate that he believes awaits them, both dying in the battle for control of the world. At the beginning of the battle, Schneisel proudly told Jinkei that he's never lost against Lelouch. Schneisel was expecting to win, but he was prepared to accept the results even if they both lost, because at least that would bring a kind of peace too. He plans to destroy the Damocles and the Flayas with both of them on board. Schneisel only came up with this last resort because he knew that Lelouch would try to board the Damocles personally when the Avalon is compromised by the Black Knights. It's actually crucial to Lelouch's success here that he predicts this mentality from Schneisel. You might be tempted to argue that Lelouch pressuring Schneisel into blowing himself up is a type of victory, but in chess, both sides get the same points for a draw regardless of who's in the winning position. Lelouch reveals that he had other plans. He appears in person and casts his Geass on Schneisel, his biggest advantage. Since learning of the existence of Geass, Schneisel had completely avoided any face-to-face contact with Lelouch, but Lelouch managed to bait Schneisel in with one last tactic, his ability to predict what his enemy will say, and Schneisel fell for it. Schneisel thought that he was the one biding for time, occupying Lelouch's attention so he doesn't realize that the Flay is about to destroy the Damocles and kill them both. In truth, Lelouch was the one distracting everyone in the room so he could subtly enter and cast his Geass on Schneisel. Lelouch hadn't only won, but he was also preparing for the next step of his plan after the battle was over. As I discussed in my video, Code Geass and the Great Man Theory, Lelouch made Schneisel into a vital pawn in ensuring world peace after the Zero Requiem. Lelouch's absolute victory in this battle wasn't only necessary for his surviving, it was also necessary for the Zero Requiem and creating the world which he sought to create all along, which again is Lelouch's primary motivation. And that was the end of the rivalry between Schneisel and Lelouch. Just like the very first game that Lelouch plays in the beginning, Lelouch wins by maneuvering around the enemy, completely disregarding their threats and checkmating them with a move they never saw coming. When we consider the differences between Lelouch and Schneisel, it also highlights the similarities. At the end of the day, Lelouch is still trying to do the same thing that his father and his brother were trying to do. Change the world to make it better for everyone. Just like they were, he's forcing his ideals onto the rest of the world by carrying out the Zero Requiem. If Charles and Schneisel were doing the wrong thing, doesn't that mean Lelouch is too? After he defeats Schneisel, Lelouch learns that there's still one obstacle he must overcome. The final opponent Lelouch has to face is Nunnally herself, the one for whom all of this violence has taken place. His consistent primary motivation. He had already decided that he had to stop giving Nunnally special treatment. That said, when it came down to it, he wasn't sure if he could bear the guilt of bending the will of someone he cares about so deeply. As he decided what to do, he talked to Nunnally to gauge where she stood. To his surprise, Nunnally expressed the idea that the Damocles could become a symbol of their hatred, just as Lelouch was trying to make himself such a symbol. Once he realized that she had a similar idea to the Zero Requiem, he regained his conviction, and was prepared to bear even this sin. Once his Geass is cast on Nunnally, he speaks his honest thoughts to her, knowing that she won't remember anything he's saying. Just recently, he said that she would never be able to do certain things on her own. While that's still true, she's shown inconceivable strength of will by being able to break the Emperor's Geass in the first place. He tells her that he loves her one more time, and quickly puts his mask back on before the effects of his Geass wear off. He has to maintain his facade even as Nunnally falls onto the ground and yells out that he's despicable and cowardly. He maintains his mask even though it hurts him. This is what separates Lelouch from an actual anime villain. He never stops genuinely caring about the people around him, but he sacrifices everything necessary, including his own soul and his own desires, to create the better world he sought from the very beginning, for Nunnally's sake, even if she hates him for it. The scene is tragic, but it solidifies Lelouch as a tragic hero. With no one left to oppose his sovereign majesty, he declares himself ruler of the world. Now all that's left is to carry out all of the remaining steps of the Zero Requiem. Unwittingly to anyone out of the loop, this very battle had become the penultimate step of his plan. Lelouch had successfully painted himself as the demon in the eyes of the world, and now all that was left was to remove the focal point of all that hatred. After all hope of anyone saving the world from the oppressive grips of its emperor dissipates, Zero, the symbol of rebellion against oppressive leaders, slays the demon in front of the very world. Lelouch, the demon, sold his soul for humanity's salvation.
They say if you fold 1,000 of these cranes, your wish will come true.
What about you? Do you wish for anything?
I wish the world was a gentler place.
Hey guys, we just wanted to say thank you all for watching the video. Hoodie and I put a lot of work into this, so we'd appreciate it if you'd like the video if you enjoyed it, and comment down below, and subscribe if you want to see more of our content. We'd also like to thank our patrons over at patreon.com/KatoYT, namely Gage and Danny the Donkey, and all of our other patrons as well. And keep an eye out for more content.
Oh, my mic was muted. Alright, everybody. That was the video. Let me get rid of this. Get rid of this text. How do I remove? Let's lower desktop audio to here. Let's get some music going. Sure, this one. All right, folks. What'd you think? Glad you enjoyed it, Ambu. Zero is in the chat, everybody. Unfortunately, no Nerval. Well, you saw the last 30 seconds, Paul, so that is a pretty strong ending. But I will say, good stuff in the middle, too. Sassy Simone Smith, welcome back, welcome back. Thorough Pendragon says that video was great. Thank you. Also, just so everyone remembers, the video goes live tomorrow. So when it does go live, if y'all could go leave a comment or like it, that'd still be great. I just realized that by showing it to you now, 10 people may not watch the video when it comes out tomorrow. So, whoops. Hey Hoodie, can you show us your cool background for a little while? Are you talking about the one that's on screen right now? Sure. Unless you're talking about something else. The video was great. Didn't even realize it was over 20 minutes. That's good to hear. That's a really strong compliment. Thank you a lot, one. Hoodie X Yuri K, 100%. It's my little sub boy. This music's too loud. There we go. So, you guys have any questions about the video, or any questions in general? I mean, I guess I can't really answer any questions about the video other than just like the editing process. So, maybe hold on to those. But I guess Zero can answer them in chat if he wants to. I mean, you guys don't have to rewatch it, but go ahead and leave a like tomorrow. That way, you know, we still get that like. Our like ratio, to be 100% honest, is not that great. Like, you know, this Sakura versus Hinata video has 19 likes and then 5 dislikes. I don't know if people don't like stream highlights or they just hate Sakura a lot. How did you celebrate Pi Day? I did not, but Zero's like super into math, so he might have. I don't know if he did anything. Will you be covering the movie recaps? Zero does want me to watch them. I don't know if there's any reason to do it, but I suppose if he puts up a good argument, it does seem like a more beneficial way to watch Code Geass than to just watch the entire show. For me specifically, because I don't gain the benefit of like seeing it all unfold naturally by watching the show, because I already know most of everything and I've already seen so much of it. So I pretty much just need the movie to fill in little spots here and there. I do have a question about the editing. Where do you get the footage for the show from? You know, the old pirating stuff, pretty much. You kind of just have to torrent it, or you could download episodes from like Kiss Anime or something. But Kiss Anime has like a watermark on it. That's if you go to pretty much all of our older videos before this one and the Legend of Korra one have Kiss Anime watermarks on them. You guys should watch Sanrio Boys. Sanrio Boys. What is this? Sanrio Boys is a social media project to promote merchandise for Sanrio's best-selling characters. It was like a manga series. I don't know what this is. It's like a boy band or something. R.I.P. to Stephen Hawking. 'Tis a sad one. Let me get rid of hanging out with Kato. Set that to the title. So, all right. I don't even know what Sanrio products are. Hello Kitty. Okay. I mean, I haven't seen like Hello Kitty since I was less than 6 years old, so I don't know necessarily if it's for me, but seems cute. 10-hour loop of Nico Nico Ni. I don't know about that one, Nerval. Zero says his phone has been charging for 10 minutes and it still won't turn on. So it looks like Zero may just be dead permanently. We're going to be going for another 45 minutes, so eventually Zero will probably join us, I imagine, but I can't speak for sure. You don't have to change the title, just put in a timestamp for the beginning of the video on the live stream. I don't know what the timestamp is. I'm not going to keep this VOD up, because if I keep the VOD up after I'm done streaming, then technically you could go back and watch the video again. Or like someone who wasn't here could go watch the video, which kind of defeats the purpose of showing it live. I think, right? That makes sense, right, guys? What are your favorite webcomics? That's an interesting question. I don't think I have one, but I have a lot of respect for the Penny Arcade comic. Like, I have a lot of respect for the people who do that, but I wouldn't say it's like, I don't know. I'm not like, excuse me, I'm not like super into it. Yeah, honestly, I haven't really read many webcomics. The only one I know about are like Penny Arcade, what is it, XD CD or something like that, and then like Homestuck and stuff. Webtoons. I don't think I've ever heard of this. I'll skim through it after the stream. Do you have a favorite video game? I'm not a huge gamer, but I do enjoy the Pokemon games a lot. Like a lot. I've probably played through Pokemon Fire Red over 1,000 times. That's not hyperbolic. I was pretty much, for like a couple months of my life, I was running Pokemon Fire Red every single day. And I would just beat it every day and then play it again the next day. Oh, I guess One Punch Man is a webcomic, huh? Who is your favorite? I assume that means you meant to ask who is your favorite character in Haikyuu, in which case it's probably Kageyama, but Tsukishima really started to shine in the 3rd season. There's so many good ones. I could give you like a top 5. I don't know if I could pick one, but it's Oikawa, Kageyama, Nishinoya, Tsukishima, and I don't think maybe I don't have a 5th one, but that's 4. How old are both of you? We are both 19, although I turned 20 in about a month and a half. Yurio or Bakugo, which rival is better? Yurio. But yeah, actually I'm gonna change my mind. I think Bakugo. You think Bakugo from My Hero Academia is an awful character? I don't know about that. I actually liked him a fair amount. I mean, his first couple episodes are kind of rough because, you know, he's just a little too much of a prick in my opinion to be like, I don't know. It kind of seems like overly evil. Just, I don't know, more funny than anything instead of like taking him serious. But I'd say after the fight with Ochako, did I pronounce that right? I think he became a really, really fascinating character. In fact, I think that's one of my favorite fights of the show. I think that one went super under the radar compared to the Deku versus Todoroki fight, but I think that fight was really great, and I think it did a lot for both of those characters. Yeah, I would say when Bakugo's at his like, I want to kill everyone, explosion, 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 that's kind of just like annoying. But when he's like toned down and he's like, you know, acting like an intelligent combatant and you know, actually using his words, I think he is really, really interesting. But keep in mind, I guess I haven't finished season 2, so I don't have the full scope. Isn't everything effing garbage except JoJo? Toned down Bakugo needs to be more of a thing. I would agree. Although, like I said, I don't know if it continues to be toned down for the rest. Yurio is a tsundere. Yeah. I really enjoyed the first 3 episodes, which I attribute a lot to the you know, the dynamic of Yuri, the 2 Yuris and then Victor. Like those 3 episodes of Yuri and Ice are like really, really fucking good in my opinion. And then I do think it maybe gets a little out of hand, which the same thing can be said about Bakugo. He gets maybe a little too angry. The stuff with his grandpa I liked a lot. The stuff with the guy from Uzbekistan seemed weird and like out of place. Like I don't really know what the point of all that was. I guess we'll maybe see more in a potential season 2, but it seemed just kind of random. I respect that, Silly Willy. You know, I think too often do we accept mediocrity. So if you think something is not good, I think you should say it's not good. Like I think too often are people, you know, gonna say, that's fine. You know, I didn't love it, I didn't hate it, but I think, you know, I think there's room for nuance, but we should also have lines. You know, maybe that's a bad way of phrasing it. I don't think we should beat around the bush, but there's room for nuance. Male tsunderes or female? I don't know a ton of male tsunderes, so I'll go female, I guess. I would agree with Silly Will that I don't like super love either archetype, but I don't. I guess, could you name? Let me look at a list to see if I even like any. let me be a little more definitive. Take my own advice, huh? TV tropes. Let's go to anime. I straight up do not recognize most of these characters. Can you explain to me what a yandere is? I don't have a strong definition of that one. I think the thing about tsundere is that, from what I'm gathering here, it's just basically the ones that annoy me are when that is like, when your character is defined by this trait. So Zero points out that young Naruto could be classified as a male tsundere, but I don't think that's his defining trait, and it just plays as sort of a part of this one dynamic at times. And I think when it's played on toned down like that, then it's easy to look past. Puma Feet says, "How late am I?" You are an hour and a half late, my friend. Yandere is just crazy. Mirai Nikki, the girl from that. Zero will be joining us at some point. We're basically just waiting for his phone to charge. So I guess he'll be joining us for the last, I don't know, 25 minutes or so. In the meantime, he is in the chat. So if you guys have any questions, you could just ask in the chat. And if he sees it, he'll respond. Zero, if you check our Twitter, Sadiq did the drawing. He sent us the work in progress drawing of you. So it's on our notifications. Will we ever get the Orin High School Host Club Part 2? As in, like, the Part 2 to our video? Excuse me. Did we say there would be a Part 2? We may redo it entirely, just because, you know, a lot of our older videos could just be redone for quality purposes. But I don't know if there's more to say, unless we just reset it better. Ever played Danganronpa? I have not. Archetypes are bad. Archetypes are bad characters 100% of the time. My only hesitance with agreeing with you is that I think you could use archetypes to say something. For example, I think a lot of characters in One Punch Man are archetypes, and I don't consider them bad characters because I think it serves a purpose to the narrative to have them be just sort of cliche stereotypes. I talked about that a little. Actually, no, I didn't. I think, well, that may. I think I talked about that. I talked about that in my. Excuse me. I talked about that in my Our Generic Characters a Problem video, I think. Have I played Mario Odyssey? No. Colin is Bay. No. It is possible to use archetypes as a base for a good character, Kage, Asuka, but the character becomes less of an archetype as a result. So, what I would say to counter that, Silly Willy, is I would look at a lot of characters from comics like The Watchmen, which are archetypes of, standard superhero, comic book tropes. But it's used to deconstruct, basically. So, while those characters, minus like Rorschach, are like not super interesting, like Night Owl, they do serve a purpose to the overarching narrative. So I guess you could still argue that they're not bad. They're not great characters, but they're not great for a purpose. If that makes sense. I don't know if you'd qualify C2 as thick. I don't think you can qualify any clamp girl as thick. Nope, that's not what I meant. Oh yeah, look at these girls, so thick. I like this one. Just all these clamp girls are like super long necks and lanky. Who's this? Zero, can you kill Hoodie for what he just said? What did I say? Deconstruction. Deconstruction doesn't mean it's good, but in order for a deconstruction to work, you need, well, not in order, but how do I say this? I think in order for a deconstruction to work, it needs to borrow from ideas, and it needs to borrow ideas like cliches and tropes and sort of subvert those expectations in a way. Kind of, it's complicated. That in itself does not make it good, but it does need those things to start off with, and then from there it could then become good, but it would still have those archetypes. Paul Robert Shaw says, I have to head out, got an early morning in England. Peace out, Paul. It's good to have you for the short time you were here. Anbu Black Ops says, Hoodie, who is your top anime waifu? Oh boy, did you not see the stream highlight of Sakura versus Hinata? I'm not gonna regurgitate that argument. Is a trope played straight? I think it's a little more complicated than that, but I don't think either of us are wrong. I don't think either of us are contradicting each other necessarily. Well, maybe I'm a little wrong because I spoke a bit definitively on the matter, but yeah, I don't think you're wrong per se, and I don't necessarily think I'm wrong per se. I just merely, the situation I gave, which is Watchmen, is an example of archetypical characters being done in a way that promotes the narrative. And then I would look at Watchmen and say, like, okay, well, there are certain characters that transcend that, and they aren't just archetypes. Like, Rorschach is a genuinely good character, but then I would look at a character like Night Owl and say, well, he doesn't, I don't know if he does. Now, I haven't really studied Watchmen, so I can't, so I'm, you know, open to the idea of being wrong here, but... Thoughts on the Anime Awards? I assume you mean, the Crunchyroll Anime Awards. I didn't watch it, but I did like catch it afterwards. It seems like a fun time. I mean, it seems pretty biased right now, and it looks like it's probably going to be that way for at least a little while. But you know, an awards night sounds like a lot of fun. If Crunchyroll wanted to send us out, that'd be great. I know we don't even have a sponsorship with them, but. Table Girl was Nina, I believe. I guess if I'm gonna have nothing on screen, I might as well sell out and just keep it on the Patreon page. Go over to patreon.com/KatoYT. Give us money. It adds a human perspective to him being awkward and how they all don't want to be heroes because it is extremely stressful. Watchmen is a great comic, one of the few I enjoy. That's a human perspective of him being awkward and how they all don't want to be. I will submit to your argument because I don't think I am educated enough to counter. Zero is in the chat, Fizzoom, but he is not here because he hates us. Something like that. Jeff would be proud. No, Jeff would only be proud if I went on to say something like, if you pledge to our Patreon at this tier and you get blah 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 blah. Here, look at the tiers. Do whatever you want. I'm not trying to sell out here, guys. Although, I mean, is it selling out if you do it for yourself? Come on. I mean, I'm not compromising my morals to say I like our content. Yeah, I would say Zero definitely hates you all. I mean, consider the fact that every single stream he's been late. Come on. I mean, what does that mean? He's got to hate you guys. Favorite music critics? I don't think I have one. The only one I even remotely follow is The Needle Drop, Anthony Fantano, but even then I don't like super follow him. Zero probably has better answers because I think he follows like a bunch of people. Silly Willy, that comment is gonna be deleted. Absolutely not okay. I don't know why Zero's not answering you. I can give you some answers, Sassy Simone Smith. Do you prefer one of those names over the other? Should I call you Simone? Or is it Simon? Am I getting that wrong completely? My bad. I know he likes, is his name just Rap Critic? Yeah, I know Zero likes this guy a lot. I haven't seen any of his stuff. Would using the 6-tier ranking system work for seasonal anime? What is 6-tier ranking? By the name of it, I don't like it, but I may be wrong. I don't know if I'm Googling the right thing here, so correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know what this is. 6-tier ranking system. Yeah, I don't think I'm looking at the right stuff here, so I don't know. I don't like the idea of like structuring reviews in any sort of way, though. I think trying to formalize art like that is misguided. Have you watched Baby Steps? I have. Well, I've watched like the first 10 episodes or so. I know it's a very popular anime. I know our boy Mathwiz 97, just Mathwiz now. I know he likes Baby Steps a lot, but I thought it was so boring. Like I just was bored out of my mind. I tried to watch it twice. I couldn't. Nintendo's such the best console of some time. It's really a good console. Zero says, I'm very sorry I haven't been able to join the stream yet. I don't know why my phone is taking so long to get 1%. Is it actually charging? Like, can you switch to a different port to see if like you're just getting, it just was never plugged in? Yeah, I mean, Baby Steps, I think it's a really great idea. I think the character by description sounds so much more interesting than most protagonists of like the sports genre, but I just think it was like really slow and there wasn't a ton of payoff in like the first 10 episodes or so, so I just kind of got bored. Look up Double Agent on TV tropes. Sure. Am I supposed to be looking for anything specifically, or? I mean, I have an idea of what a double agent is. The double agent? Am I on the wrong thing? Oh, is it this? And what is 6? Is 6 tier ranking on here or something? He's a movie or music reviewer. Okay. I guess I could check him out. I don't really super get into music reviews, but I will certainly bookmark it for later. Double agent. Oh, he's pretty small. All right, it is bookmarked. I'm asking more out of curiosity than as a recommendation, but have you been following RWBY? I haven't been following it, but I did watch the first season. I think it was called. I don't know. I may not have finished the first season, but I remember watching up until like the there was like a fight scene between the monkey dude and the guy with the cane gun. I really didn't like RWBY. I thought the fight scenes were so good, and then everything else was just actual garbage. Like, not even like, oh, this is not good. It's like, no, this is bad. This is really bad. I don't think we are. I wouldn't imagine Kato TV tropes. Unless one of you guys did it, yeah. Yeah, we're not. I mean, we're not that big, so. He's the one who made the 6-tier ranking system. I will look into it, though. I can't promise that I'll like it. Did I miss a message from Puma? Mig Zero gets stabbed 5 times for every minute he's late. Sure. I think he is an hour and 43 minutes right now, so I'm pretty sure he's dead then. Ever like My Little Pony? No, I didn't watch it at all up until like a couple months ago because, you know, I just didn't really seem like something I'd watch, kind of just like a meme. But, you know, I have so much respect for people like Best Guy Ever and like Ben Saint, and, you know, they used to be super into My Little Pony, so I thought, you know, if these guys are people I think have really, really good opinions and, you know, I really enjoy the content they make, then maybe I should give it a shot. Maybe I'll like My Little Pony. And then I watched it and it was not bad. It was just like a perfectly average kids show, in my opinion. Something I would, like, if I had a child with me and they wanted to watch it, I wouldn't protest, but certainly wouldn't put it on myself. Hoodie, what are some of your favorite manga? I do not read manga. I have a hard time. I've described it as picture dyslexia. I have a hard time being able to figure out what's happening on the pages. I don't know why. especially because it's all black and white. Like, I struggle with comic books, but I could sort of do it. But with manga, it's really, really hard. If you ever make MLP content, I'm unsubbing. Oh, I already made the Sakura video. Well, I already professed my love for Sakura, so I might as well just go down the rabbit hole. I like My Little Pony. I mean, it wasn't bad. Like I said, I mean, if you like it, that's fine. Hoodie is my spirit animal confirmed. I'll take that. Do you have any siblings? I have my sister. She's 2 years older than me. I'm very close with her. And I have 2 stepbrothers who I'm not like super close with.
Maybe another time. Yeah, but there may not be another time.
Gives me flashbacks to when I make an awful Star Wars AMV in high school. I think it's still on here. So, dude, I made so many AMVs as a kid. In fact, never mind. Yeah, I made a ton of terrible AMVs as a kid. That's why, like, the only reason I know how to edit right now is because I made AMVs as a kid. So I've basically been doing it for like 10 years now. Zero says he has 2 brothers and 1 long lost brother. Found him over a year ago, but still haven't met him. He looks like a cool dude. I saw his Facebook. Seems like a nice fella. Something good came out of it then? Yeah, I mean, I don't regret doing the AMVs. I think they're, I think they're bad, but they were fun. I still would be interested in doing AMVs now, but it would be an investment of my time that really doesn't make any sense. I know Zero's still into AMVs. I think one of our playlists on the channel used to be public, but I made sure he hid it because I don't want anyone to see our shame. I think one of the playlists is like his favorite AMVs or something. Where is it? Yeah, he has an AMVs playlist that I made sure was unlisted. I could link to you guys if you want. I assume he wouldn't mind because it was public before that. This is Zero's AMV playlist. I watched a bit of Avatar in television when I was 9. Do you think it could be enjoyable now when I'm a bit older? 100%. I think, yeah. Thorough Pendragon says Avatar is ageless. I would agree. Although, I do think that, I've been public. Pretty much the first half of season 1 is a bit slow. It's easier to watch if you're like a kid and watching it weekly. But if you could watch those episodes, get through it, and then after that, and especially during season 2, the show picks up by a ton. Do you play video games? If so, what games are some of your favorite? I don't play video games all too much, but I said earlier that I like Pokemon Fire Red a lot. I like Pokemon in general a lot. I've been playing a lot of Pokemon Showdown. It's been fun. I'll just do a random battle while I talk to you guys. I don't know if any of you guys play Showdown or not, but some good old-fashioned fun. Do you like Princess Principal? I think you'd enjoy it. I've never heard of it. Well, it sounds a little familiar, but I'm not super familiar. Like, it sounds familiar, but I am not familiar with it. Dude, I struggle speaking sometimes. I think I fucked up. I have a Magikarp. God damn it. Thorough Pendragon. Alright, I'll just call you Thorough. The plot was kind of boring, but maybe it was because I didn't understand it. I skipped a lot. If you're talking about Avatar, then I would say it depends. Well, if you didn't like it, you didn't like it. But if it was one of the first, like, if it was the first half of season 1, then I would say just keep pushing forward. If you have time. Mo Spies. Is that a show, or are you just making a statement? Alright, boys. Looks like Zero is probably not going to join us for the night because we are ending in about 9 minutes. So if you guys have any last questions, then I'd be more than happy to answer them. Favorite anime YouTuber is Best Guy Ever. Well, I like Best Guy Ever's Best Anime Ever series. I don't really like the way Echoes too much. Other than that, I don't know. Are there some classics you hated? I don't want to say I hated it, but I thought Monster was too slow. Oh, I only watched the first 4 episodes, but I thought it was pretty slow start. The fuck? I'm getting wrecked here. Fuck, boys. Is there anything in particular that made you and Zero start a YouTube channel? We just thought we could do it a lot better than everyone else. That's the honest answer, but I've since learned that I was wrong. But that was the answer at the time. Dude, I actually don't think I could kill this Clefable. My Machamp missed submission twice. Never mind. Longest anime that you've watched? Naruto, I guess, technically. I was watching Yu Yu Hakusho subbed and I didn't like it, then I found out the dub is different, so I get a war in English. Longest definitely. Just watched Monster like 2 weeks ago. Consider the most overrated. Who do you guys? Oh, sorry. Just one says just watched Monster like 2 weeks ago and it was great. Really liked the slow pace. I'm sure it would be great, and I'm sure I would love it if I watched it all. But I only watched the first 4 episodes for a video that we were doing, and honestly, if I were only to watch those 4 episodes, which I did, I would say I don't like it. But I will probably get around to watching the rest of it soon. Not soon, but at some point. Who do you think is the most overrated AniTuber? I don't know. I don't think most AniTubers are overrated. Maybe Gigic. I think he's alright. I don't think he's like amazing. I don't think he's terrible. I also haven't seen most of his content, so I would say well, actually, you know what? It's hard because I think Mother's Basement is, but I also think a lot of people are keen on the fact that Mother's Basement isn't that great. If that makes sense. Like I think a lot like the inner circle of the AniTubers, you know, make fun of Mother's Basement, but he does have a ton of subscribers, and I think his content is subpar. I think he wastes a lot of time in his videos to stretch the length, and I also think he produces content way too fast. Like he'll put out like 4 videos in a month, or no, not 4 videos in a month. He'll put out like 3 videos over the span of 2 weeks, and they're all like 20 minutes length. So like there's no way this guy is like taking the proper time with his videos by doing that. Should I end CSGO and watch Science Gate after the stream? I don't think I'm qualified to answer that. I don't play CSGO, and I haven't watched Steins Gate yet. I'm going to soon, though. Like, really soon. What's the best thing you've experienced? Gigic is comedic, and I will say that is the benefit to him. Well, I don't think he's, like, super funny, but I think he's, like, somewhat funny. And the only analysis... I haven't heard too much of his analysis, but the little I have heard just didn't impress me all that much. I don't know why he's so big. The thing, like, nothing to... I don't want to take away what he's done because I'm not an expert in Giga content, so I'm not going to call him out or anything, but I just don't really fully understand why this guy has 1 million subscribers. What's the best thing you've experienced since creating this channel other than the fans? Well, that's awfully presumptuous, Sadiq. The best thing you've experienced? The money. Not that there's been much of it, but a little bit of money's good. Alexander is a great AnyTuber. He gives phenomenal analysis, and you guys too, of course, which is why. So it's up to you. Alexander's a somewhat friend of the show. You know, we don't talk to him all that much, but he stopped by in the live stream a couple times. I do think he's really, really good. You should watch Steins Gate now. I'm gonna watch it like sometime in the next week because we're doing a video on it. Let's see. Oh, are you you're talking to Nerval, not me. My bad. I have a, you know, I have a bias, but I really like Mathwas a lot. I mean, bias in the sense that, you know, we're somewhat friendly with him, but I do think he makes pretty decent content. I think he's on the way up in the sense that, like, I don't think he's amazing right now, but I think he's an up-and-coming YouTuber, and like us, you know, we have our flaws, but I can see the projection of what we will be, and I think he looks promising. What's the best thing you've experienced since creating this channel? Did you just copy and paste Sadiq's question? Other than the money. All right, I'll come up with a better answer. Oh, fuck, I just missed my hyper beam. I mean, I started watching anime a lot more, and that's been pretty good. The only reason I watched Haikyuu was in preparation for this channel, so I think I gained a lot from that because Haikyuu is one of my favorite anime now. Also, I mean, Sadiq said other than the fans, but these live streams have been a lot of fun. I really enjoy doing these live streams.
Oh, what do I play? Do you have a name?
Yes, Samantha.
Are you going to take down the entire stream? It'll be unlisted, so I think if you have the link right now, then you could just revisit it, but I'm going to keep it unlisted. I got a bias with Alexander because he makes analysis of my 2 favorite anime series for the most part. You'd have a lot in common with Hunter x Hunter Dick Riding Association then. I do, I mean, so yeah, part of the fans is like this, you know, this small community of, you know, 10 or so people that we have watching the live stream is like, I don't know, Saturdays and I guess Thursday, but usually Saturdays are a ton of fun, so. Technically we should be ending right now, but I want to finish this Pokemon game, so we're just gonna keep going. What's the worst part about the anime community? I don't know. I think my least favorite part about the anime community is how dedicated it is, in the sense that it's gonna sound weird, but in the sense that, like, to be an anime fan is equal to how much anime you've seen, in a sense. Like, Like, it's very common for you to have to show your mal to people because people want to know, like, well, how much has this guy seen? You know, I'm going to judge him off of, you know, trivial stuff like that. And as someone who hasn't seen a lot of anime, because, you know, before high school, I had watched some anime, but I was mostly like, I still to this day consider my background to be like Western film. So I'm like, I don't have a ton of background to go off of for this stuff. And I feel like that perhaps lends me to being judged a bit more. I'm privating the cringy video after the stream ends. It's too cringy. Did I miss you linking a video? I didn't see it. TheraPendragon retracted this message. Anyone trying to play Fortnite? I don't play Fortnite, unfortunately. Dude, what is this guy doing? This guy's just fucking with me. Can you do it on Saturday and Sunday? I can't stay for 2 hours on weekend. Yeah, all of our streams are usually on Saturday. The only reason we did one today is because we are uploading the video tomorrow, and I just wanted to premiere earlier for you guys because, you know, you guys have been sticking around. I like you guys, so I want to give you the video early. I think I just lose here. Oh, actually no, he's paralyzed, so I'm faster. Oh my god, oh, that's so clutch. I'm a god. I just want everyone to know how fucking good I am at Pokemon. Why not use Mega Drain? It did less damage. It'd heal me, so maybe it'd equal out, but just it didn't seem like I would live a Psychic all anyways, so. It's pretty rewarding to see a video doing really well. I enjoy getting a bunch of positive feedback from people new to the channel. I 100% agree. I've said this in a pillow talk, but the worst moment for me on this channel is right before I upload a video because I'm super self-conscious about it, and like I immediately start thinking I'm gonna upload this video and everyone's gonna hate it. And then the best part of the channel for me is like 5 minutes afterwards when it's like the first comments start coming in and I see all the likes it's getting, and basically just like a reaffirmation that I did a good job. Machamp is the homie, I would agree. Yeah, I mean my list of anime, my anime list you might say, is pretty low. Just by nature of me not dedicated. Because even today, like, well, not today, but even like nowadays, I'm not watching anime every day because, you know, I'm busy with other stuff. But I probably could be squeezing in more anime, but instead I watch a movie just because I like watching movies. And eventually I'd like to make videos on, you know, movies and television, like Western stuff. But for now we have an anime audience, so I'm going to keep making anime stuff. And I don't dislike anime. I mean, I obviously love anime a lot. I've made this much content about it already, so. Is Pokemon fun? It's a lot of fun. Although competitive is really hard, so it's not for everyone. One last question. What is the meaning of life, except for anime and porn, of course? Get money. I don't know. I think that's my meaning of life, just to get money. What's tomorrow's video? It's you weren't here. If you weren't here for the beginning, then I think you could rewind before the stream's over or after the stream's over. It's gonna be unlisted though, so you should probably do it now. But about an hour ago, or about an hour and 20 minutes ago, we previewed the video tomorrow. It's about Code Geass. It's an analysis of Lelouch. Alright, boys. Unfortunately, Zero couldn't join us today, but I think today was a good stream. We premiered Zero's video. I'm glad you all enjoyed it. It is going to be uploaded tomorrow, so if you guys could all go and leave it a like, even though you've already seen it, that'd be much appreciated. Any comments would be great. As always, we have the Patreon. Give us money. Let's go through these tiers. You know, I'm just gonna sell out for a little bit here, guys. At $2 a month, you get video credits. That means your name is gonna be at the end of the video. I don't know if you guys saw that with the video we showed earlier, but you know, we had people's name at the end of the video, you could get that for $2. At $5, Zero will say your name. He says it at the end of the video. Also, we do reviews of other people's content at this level too. So if you are like, if you're an artist or a YouTuber, if you want our like really thoughtful opinions of your content, then for $5 a month we do that. At $10, you basically get status reports of all of the projects, meaning that like, so at $10 a month, basically as soon as I finish a script, you will probably see it, or even beforehand. And then as I'm editing the video, you guys will probably see it too. And then blah blah blah. 15, you get to choose what anime we review for our monthly anime review show. Alright, boys. Thank you all for watching. Zero, say goodbye to the folks in chat for me. It's been a good night. I will see you all. No stream this Saturday, I think. Maybe. I'll talk to Zero. But definitely a stream the Saturday after. So, see you then. Farewell.